Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. You know how much I love anything that has to do with the arts. And today we have two very talented human beings on the show. We have Brian James Myer and Kathryn Bowden, or Kat, as you can tell. This is their production. They are part of the stars of, I'm going to say it, I think that's what Desiree said anyway, the stars of Mozart's The Magic Flute, which Opera Orlando is putting on. We're going to learn about that. We're going to learn about production. We're going to learn about how you can get tickets, and we're going to learn all about them. Welcome, Brian and Kat. How are you today?
We're good.
We're good.
Thank you for having
You look good. I was telling you before we went live that your lighting in the back is so much better. You look perfect lighting, perfect skin. I mean, I guess that's what it's all about when you are a performing artist like the two of you are. So before we talk about the Magic Flute, which is coming up, and you guys will give me all the details. Desiree, I promise you I will read the details too. I told you that the audience loves an origin story. In your cases, they want to know, did you come out and you were born and you were singing opera, or was this a gift that you realized early on or later in life? So give us the 411, and we'll start with you, Kat.
Well, I did come out of the womb singing. That is very accurate, but it was not opera. It was, strictly loved a Little Mermaid. We loved The Lion King. They used to have to put me in separate rooms at nap time and daycare because I would just sing through nap time. But I was lucky enough to go to a performing arts high school where we had operas and we had a classical department. And I had a teacher there who introduced me to it, and I sort of, fell in love and went to college for it, and then it kind of all spiraled out from there, basically.
Little Mermaid. So yeah, you're my child's age. Yes, she used to sing and would never nap at all. We still love The Little Mermaid and all of those productions.
Who does?
It's so good. You can belt that out for sure. That's a good one. Brian, how about you?
I came out of the womb singing kind of as well, but definitely not opera. It was mostly Whitney Houston and Brian McKnight. But
pretty close.
Yeah. Well, Whitney Houston is the Queen of the Night. And
true.
In fact, Kat here is also the Queen of the Night.
We love a theme.
There's a nice theme. And I actually coincidentally also went to a performing arts high school. We didn't have operas or classical stage productions. It was mostly choral music and musical theater. So I didn't get into opera until I was in college. And I sort of fell into it and ended up falling in love with it and telling myself, I'll go for some auditions, and as long as I get hired, I guess this is what I'll do. And here I am 10 years later. So
I don't think I've ever asked, but I've always been curious about opera. So you obviously had some sort of musical prowess, gift, talent early on. But just because you're musical and can sing doesn't mean that you can sing opera. So explain that a little bit, because I think that there is Whitney Houston obviously had a beautiful, beautiful voice, an amazing voice. RIP for her for sure. But I feel like opera, you discover it. It's not something like when you're singing The Little Mermaid, all of a sudden your parents go, she should do opera.
Right.
What was that process like? Because you both kind of discovered it.
Well, for me, when I was in the performing arts high school, we started doing operas in my sophomore year, but I was too afraid to audition for them until my senior year. Because I wasn't sure that I had that operatic sound. I thought that all opera singers had to have a giant voice that could shatter glass and all of this crazy thing. And, when I finally did audition, my teacher was like, no, you sing with your honest voice and we'll find the sound through that. And I think a lot of times opera sort of discovers you in some ways, and when you find out that your voice is suited for it, it's mostly through exploration, I think, of trying out different sounds and just seeing what feels best, and operatic singing was what felt best and most healthy for me. I don't know about you, but
yeah,
I love that. Opera finds you.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Because it was certainly not something that I foresaw myself doing. Even into my mid-20s, I was like, I don't know, what am I doing? I don't know anything. Yeah. And then I learned that, everybody's sort of faking it so they make it. Mm-hmm. And I really embraced that and continue to learn and continue to grow and continue to fall in love with not just opera. I like a lot of other kinds of music, as I'm sure you do too. but opera being one of them and being my primary source of income. So
It's just about what feels healthiest, I think, and what feels most natural to your voice.
Yeah,
sure, because I think, but when you discover that gift and then you can combine it with your passion for music, I mean, that's just a killer way to approach. Let's talk about the approach with Mozart's The Magic Flute. I think one of the things I get whenever I talk about opera, or whenever I have guests on that are sharing about opera, is that people are intimidated by it. A lot of them don't know that there are, when you go, even if it's in a different language, you can feel it, you can sense it. The performers most definitely tell a story. And so whether you know the words or not, so I always encourage people, go and embrace the music and the sound, because that is what will give you what you want. And almost everyone who's done it has said, yeah, you were right. I didn't understand a word they said, but I understood the feeling and the emotion and the story because of the performance. So let's talk about Mozart's The Magic Flute. What is it about?
Well, I do want to say really quickly, yes, it is in a foreign language, but we will have super titles with all the translations, so you will know.
There's anybody's objection is right out the window.
And our dialogue will be in English, and the music will be in German, but we will have subtitles for absolutely everything, so you won't miss anything at all.
Exactly.
I love it. All right. The Magic Flute is probably, I think we could guess, but why don't you tell us?
Well, I think the great thing about the Magic Flute is that there is dialogue, and so it has some parallels to modern day musical theater, and it's a very fantastical story. Princes, princesses, monsters, magic, all of that kind of stuff. And you're sitting here, I think, I'm biased, but with the two most interesting characters in the show. We have my character, who's sort of the everyman. He's very silly and everything, and it's a comedy. And then we have the villain of the story, which, I shouldn't have given that away. But who has some of the most recognizable and impressive music in the entire show. Do you want to talk about the plot a little bit, or?
It's really a story about, I think it's a coming of age story, in my opinion. You have a lot of characters who go through transformation, be it for good or for worse, better or worse. And it's sort of about figuring out the truth within ourselves, I think, really admitting that to ourselves. So you have the prince and princess who, of course, go on their hero's journey, but then you have someone like Papageno who really learns to be okay with just who he is and not need much more in life than love. And then you have the queen, who starts out very, very regal and very separate. And the more we go through the show, the more you sort of see the human side of her and how she's very flawed. So I think it's sort of a story about truth, but mostly about love. It's mostly a love story.
Yeah.
Don't we all love a love story? I'm a sucker.
There's classic prince and princess that are trying to find each other. Yeah.
What I think, whenever I have anything on about opera, people later on will say, I just want to learn how to appreciate that. And 9 times out of 10, if you're old like me, you remember the scene in Pretty Woman where she falls in love, realizes that she falls in love with she loves opera. And I think that that's what a lot of people's reaction would be if they gave it an opportunity and did not look at it as a challenge, but more of a storytelling that is completely unique, in my opinion, and powerful. Your voices, I think, tell the story, and your voices really carry the story forward. So I'm excited. So I've rambled on, but I want to know more about how people can get tickets. When is the event? And I have a little chat here if you guys don't have it. We have Desiree in the background. Thank God for Desiree. We love her. So it is October 28th, which is this Friday, and Sunday, October 30th. So the 28th is at 7:30 p.m. And that is Friday the 28th. And then Sunday the 30th, 2 p.m. at the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center, the Steinmetz Hall, which is
Steinmetz Hall.
It's so
it is just one of the most amazing places. If you have not seen a show there or heard a performance there, you are missing out. And we will put the link in the comments below. They have student rush tickets available, and the rating is PG, so it's friendly, family friendly.
Yep.
And includes orchestration by the Orlando Philharmonic. Puppets provided by Michelle Lee Puppets, and costumes are inspired by an anime costume design. I'm sorry, designer. So leaving them, I didn't ask Desiree this, and I won't put you on the spot because she'd kill me. But if you ever want to sing a note or two, are you the type to have to gargle water for 7 hours? And how's your prep? But I would love just a quick little. Can you say? She can kill me later. Can you sing something either from it, like a bar or two? Or God, you could sing Whitney Houston for all I care. I just want to hear your voices.
Well, the tough thing for us is actually we have no music together. And typically we're never on stage at the same time. Although in this one I am.
One time, but we don't interact.
Yeah, but we don't interact. So there's not really anything
for us to sing together. But I will say some of the music that I sing is some of the most recognizable, as Brian said. Like if you've ever heard that car commercial that has the Queen of the Night.
Yes.
That's the Queen of the Night aria that everybody knows and recognizes. So if you want to hear it sung in a real hall in real time, not on a commercial.
And really well.
Really well. All right. So what's the best way they can reach you? And I will obviously, guys, I know you're going to want to know how to get tickets, but how can they find out more about you, Brian and Kat? How can they reach you? Websites, social media? Give them the 411.
Well, first thing that you can do is go to the Opera Orlando website. There are bios about us there, and you can find out more about tickets there. You can go to drphillipscenter.org for the tickets. And then we have a personal website too.
Yes.
We each have personal websites, which mine is just my name, brianjamesmyer.com.
And mine is KathrynBowdenSoprano.com.
And we have social media. My social media is also just Brian James Myer. You can find me there, and I'm sure
I have an Instagram that's Kathryn Bowden Soprano, a Facebook that's Kathryn Bowden Soprano. It's a whole thing.
Yeah,
it's a brand.
I love it when people have a brand,
yeah.
Especially when you're a talented artist like you are. All right, guys, you're always asking me about how you can get involved in the arts, how you can see performances, what to see, because sometimes it's very hard if you aren't used to it, how to maneuver through all of the things that go on in the city. But this is going to be amazing. It's this Friday and Sunday. Friday at 7:30, Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center at the Steinmetz Hall. Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Kat. I appreciate it. Thank you, Desiree. Get out and get your tickets. They are still available, operaorlando.org, or you can reach out to me, and I will get you in touch with them. Thank you so much. I love when talented performers come on the show, and I appreciate you taking time. Very exciting.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
All right, wonderful. All right, guys, operaorlando.org. Mozart's The Magic Flute this weekend. Get your tickets.